Welcome, audio fans. It's time for another episode of the podcast, presented by J&J Production Studios, your home for entertainment with your favorite shows available every week. And now, it's time to begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, hello, everybody. And in case you missed it, we had a great interview episode that's up available now. You can check it out. But we got a bonus episode. We've been wanting to do this, so we are back. And we promise after this weekend, we're getting back to a normal schedule. We're doing some other things. Just we've been bottlenecked with interviews, so we're trying to make time for that. But here we are yet again. It is me, Sam Crow, along with Taskmaster Bill, and we're here to do another episode of The Sports Show. We got some great topics we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to kick things off with a big one. And I always say this because everybody, well, it's not big news now. But if you couldn't tell, and I don't have it here in front of me, but we're going to talk about this, the much waited, and pardon me, I'm going to have to hold that thought. Oh, man, it's allergy season. But I'll tell you what, the big reveal, the big announcement, if you guys didn't follow SportsCenter, you saw the much anticipated and what now has been coined by the man himself as the final decision. We saw that LeBron James has chosen and has signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, what has been a 2-year contract. I suspect he'll play probably a third year there. They just have to do it year by year. LeBron calling this his final decision, meaning that doesn't say how long he's going to play, but he has no intention of going anywhere else. This will be the final destination. And we'll see what happens. So the big question is, compared to the teams involved, we know Cleveland was in the hunt, as was Miami. And I'll throw us out to Bill. We'll debate this question first. Is Philadelphia, or should it be, is it the right choice, and why?
The thing with Philly is they're championship ready. Like, they've assembled a roster that if they don't at least make the Eastern Conference Finals, I think it would be considered a disappointment.
Oh, yeah.
The problem I see with Philadelphia is, as a result of everything that's gone on, they don't have a lot of depth.
No.
And so I was just looking up their depth chart. Would you, I'll throw this at you, would you start LeBron James? Is he at an age where he can play 25 to 30 minutes a game, or is he a 18 to 25 minute guy now?
Well, this is the thing. Like, I think there's different scenarios that you could do this. See, I don't know. I'm at the age, I'm the old school of he's at an age where you really shouldn't be playing him like 20, 30 minutes a game, but his numbers don't necessarily indicate that he couldn't do it. But now the question is the longevity factor, because it's the same question they said. This was the uniqueness when Tom Brady did this, when he played a whole season at 45. Like, the longer you go, and obviously it's a contact sport versus a non-contact, but there are basketball-related injuries. Things can happen. So the question really is, and this goes back, I think we talked about this before, is what is LeBron's motive for playing? Now, if he wants to play for a championship title, which I know they said it's not his number one forte, but you got to know he's at least thinking about it. Because, I mean, at this stage, why not? Do you push yourself to the brink where, you could play those full minutes, but then if you're hurt during the season, that ruins your playoff chance? So I think it's a strategy that Philly has to look at and say, okay, because now here's the question and ties to that question. They're going to have to shuffle because you have Jaylen Brown there, both a small forward. Well, technically LeBron's played power forward. Now I've heard it said they could platoon him back to power forward, which is I think what the Lakers were doing also, to allow Jaylen Brown to be on the floor.
If they put him at power, they've got all their eggs in one basket, right?
Yep.
So it's a matter of if, let's say, for example, they get in foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at their depth chart, and, I mean, I like the NBA. I follow it fairly closely, but half of their backups I've never heard of.
Yes.
And, I know Anthony Simmons. I know Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Who's
right.
LeBaron Fillon?
Couldn't tell you.
Who is Dean Wade? Who is Adam Bona?
Yep.
See, that's their starting five is as good enough to take you somewhere. But when you need someone for 13, 16 minutes off the bench, other than Pope and Simmons,
there's no depth there.
Hope and pray. Now,
well,
I suspect that if they get to the point where they think they can legitimately challenge, there will be a trade at the deadline or therefore around to give them, if they could get like previously they had Kyle Lowry there. Like he wasn't going to play much, but he'd been a championship caliber player. He played forever. He could guide the young kids. You need a couple of those, I think.
Yeah, well, and if you think about it, like the other question is, think of it this way. Now, Boston did this a couple years ago when they won the title, and you had at that time Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench. They had, their starters were doing well, and actually their bench was actually at certain times during that championship run, the bench players were outscoring the starters. So they had the full round of starters could play, but then you had all five, and I'm a big fan of this too. All five positions are covered on the backcourt, on the back end. So you have the backup point, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. You have reliable backups for all five positions. We're going to a couple other, the swingman in here and there. What reminds me of, if you remember back in the day, when LeBron took his talents to South Beach. Now, Miami wasn't terrible at the depth behind, but because of the salary cap implications of having, Wade, James, and Bosch, which ate up their salary cap, they also had a similar, and they're starting five. I mean, you had, let me see, Joel Anthony, I think, was the center at that time. And Mario Chalmers was a decent point guard, but outside of that, the three, they didn't have, it wasn't an outstanding starting five. And then,
I mean, essentially, you have to rely on unproven rookies, first and second round draft picks, or guys you're getting from the G League.
That's the thing.
Unless you happen to pick up an unsigned veteran, that kind of thing.
And it could happen. And I don't think Philly is in a salary cap situation where they couldn't do that if they really wanted to. And I believe GM ownership said they're not necessarily done, adding talent, but I don't foresee it being unrealistic that they make a trade somewhere, because obviously you're going to need some people. They're going all in. We can probably agree with that. They're going all in for a championship run. This has got to be it.
But what scares me is that of the starting five, which are fairly strong. I mean, Maxi's pretty damn good. Edgecombe is up and coming. You got Brown, James, and Embiid. Between James and Embiid, they may miss 50 games this year.
Well, that's the other factor. And that's my concern with Joel Embiid. He's a great player, but is he going to stay healthy most of the year? We don't know. So,
and quite frankly, they don't have much in the way of a backup for Embiid.
But now the argument could be made. This is where we could flip this question and kind of double answer this question as well. Was there a better option for him on the table? Was Miami a better option? Could Cleveland have been a better option? Because he spurned them, obviously, to go to Philly. So,
my guess is Miami. It was also in the same kind of situation. Miami can afforded him, I think, a little easier because they've got a lot of talent that's on the younger side.
Right.
Miami is known for having a lot of second-round draft picks, undrafted free agents that they turn into usable players.
Yep.
I don't think Philly has that reputation. And I'm not saying they're bad players.
No.
I would never criticize somebody who's a pro, but they're not at the level of a 6-year veteran coming off the bench.
And clearly you can tell, and I heard this discussion on one of the sportscast shows where clearly Miami was not in a decent position because, obviously you think, they brought Giannis in, but apparently that wasn't enough to convince LeBron to go to Miami there. I kind of knew the Jaylen Brown. I think that trade did tip the scale a little bit. I think that had to have helped influence his decision. I don't know. And again, Cleveland, I mean, we don't know what the mindset is. The rumor was what teams he had top priority for, but we don't know. There could have been others. And whatever the reason was, I only think the option would be, I mean, and again, Cleveland was in a situation where they wouldn't have been able to add much talent because they would have been, even at the veterans minimum, they would have been capped at the second umbrella. So he could have gone there, but the window for adding more talent was not very wide. It wasn't a wide enough net to, and they have decent talent.
The other thing I thought of was if he went to Miami, he wouldn't be the spotlight guy. And I don't know if he has much of an ego, but that might have bothered him.
I think he said at this stage of his career, he has said that's the same reason, like with the Lakers moving on, because Luka is the star there. He acknowledges I don't want to say he's saying he's a role player, but he's acknowledging the fact of I'm at a point in my career where I can take the back seat if I need to. Because I recognize, 42 years old, you're not the star anymore. Okay. He has said, though, I can still help a team win, though. And that's why he said that in his welcoming statement to Philadelphia, as I want to come here to help them win. I think I can do it. So from that standpoint, no, I think a lot of it is the talent center. I mean, again, they don't have much depth, but I think maybe if you look at the teams who could push, because I mean, Miami's not going to make a deep playoff push. I mean, maybe Cleveland. Cleveland was tight last year in the Eastern Conference. And even Golden State was we talked about Golden State before too. There's not enough depth there. Now they just re-signed Draymond Green because obviously they're out of the LeBron sweepstakes. But there's when you look at the factors, and I said this, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. I think that Jaylen Brown was the tipping point because I think he was considering Philly, but it wasn't more so a top runner until he came to town. That being said, is there a better option outside of Philly? Could there have been? See, it's again hard to read because
it gets into that ego thing because I think on the opposite end, if he went to Cleveland, other than James Harden, he might have to carry more than he was looking to.
Possibly.
I mean, Cleveland's team's not terrible. I mean, they've got lots of skill, but Thomas Bryant and Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen isn't the same as Jaylen Brown and
Tyrese Maxey and Embiid and
etc. Edgecombe, like they're just not. And so you get that if you go to Philly, how many minutes do you play versus Cleveland is how many minutes do you have to play, and that might have played into it.
Well, and you think about this too. Now, I think this ties into the whole. He said, "I'm not into it to chase titles." It's a challenge where because Philadelphia has been a title drought for 56 years. I think they're still looking for an answer there.
I think their last one would have been with Moses Malone, Dr. J, early 80s.
Let's see. When did
because Moses Malone was a back-to-back MVP, and they had Dr. J.
Okay, so 40 is 43 years. So, 1983.
Yeah, 83. Yeah, and I mean, I don't even think there was a young Charles Barkley on that team. I don't think he'd come yet. No,
because he never won a title.
And the other thing about LeBron is LeBron's only making, or his cap hit, according to Sport Track, his cap hit for this year is 3.8, and for next year is a little over $4 million.
Right, which is the veteran's minimum.
Yeah, I mean, $4 million, you can pick up a guy who's playing in Europe or something. I mean, it's not a big amount of money, but if Cleveland just didn't have the $4 million in its ability to pay,
they were already into the second umbrella. Like they were dangling. That's what one of the commenters said. Even if he went there, even if he had almost $4 million for himself. That still pushes Cleveland closer to the second cap. They're not in the first umbrella. They're already in the second, so they don't have a lot of financial wiggle room. But I also suspect because he's had success, he's won in Cleveland, he's also won in Miami. It's a fresh start, a fresh challenge going to Philly. And again, they have talent there. I'm saying this publicly outline. I don't see them winning the title, but I think they could make a run at least. I don't think it's impossible for sure.
And the other thing is, it's a scenario like where I live in Toronto. If the Toronto Maple Leafs ever won the Stanley Cup, you'd be a hero. Well, in Philly, if you brought them a title, you wouldn't have to buy a drink the rest of your life. You know, like there is something to getting to an occasion that doesn't happen very often.
And I think that's part of the allure, because remember, LeBron finally gave a title to Cleveland. No one had done that before. So I think it's a similar mentality going into Philly, because he did this with LA. I say this, and I don't care who doesn't like it. I don't count the 2020 as technically fair because it wasn't a full NBA season. So you can say what you want, but I don't think it's a fair championship because you were 20 games shy of a regular season. Just saying.
Who won the title that year?
2020 was the Lakers.
Oh, was it the Lakers year? Okay.
That was COVID year. That's why that was his fourth ring, but I don't count it because, again, it wasn't a whole season.
That was played in an arena with
nobody. Yep, and they shortened the season by almost 20 games. So, and I've had people get backlash. Oh, well, they probably still would have made it. Yeah, but you got to play a full season. I mean, come on now. Like, and if I'm LeBron, I'm like,
games. I was going to say it's 20 less games for possible injuries.
Right, and I'm like, listen, I'm old school like the Bradys and LeBrons. Like, I want to win it I want to know I made it beating everybody fairly in an entire season, not shortcutting it to get to the finals and however else you want to look at it, you know. So
there was also talk around me because I'm in Southern Ontario. He loves playing in Toronto. He loves the city. He loves the arena, but he just wasn't. Toronto didn't want him. You know, what? A 44-year-old.
He'll be 42 in December.
Or 42. 42.
Yeah, he's 5 years older than me. Yep.
You'd rather give that to your first round pick 2 years ago than LeBron, right?
I really don't see him picking Toronto. Again, it's nothing against Toronto. I just don't. I think it's a chemistry thing. I just don't see the blend there because, all throughout the years, even the back and forth, they just don't seem like the idea. Same thing with Boston. I'm a Boston fan. I like the Celtics, but I said the same thing. People say he's not going to choose Boston. It's not even on the radar. I don't know why they keep saying that, but
no, it's not his culture. I don't think.
No, and I think even Philly's kind of a stretch. I mean, it's an interesting mix. I could see it. It's interesting, and I mean, if this was going to be your swan song, which it seems to be, I mean, sure, why not? But when you calculate it, and again, it's got to be talent has to play a picture because obviously, you know, why would you go there? And I think the East is winnable. I mean, you got New York there, and I mean, you know, obviously Toronto's there, and Boston, Miami. But I mean Miami. You know, I think they have the edge, so that's winnable. It could be another alluring factor why. And I don't see New York repeating this year. It's hard to go back to back. I mean, they have a good team, but taking back to back.
The thing always is, and it's been this way for 40 years, the West Coast is a much different style of play, whereas the East is a slugfest.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, you know, defense, you know, in the East, a big center can make a difference. In the West, they just shoot it from everywhere, right? So physically, can he – that's why I thought maybe Golden State because, you know, they're a lot of passing team and fast breaks and – whereas you're playing Philly, that means you're playing the Raptors, you're playing the Knicks, you're playing the Celtics, you're playing Cleveland, you're playing Miami, and they all play a physical brand of basketball.
Yep. I mean, that could be where you have him in the reserve role where it's like, okay, we got a 3-game series against New York, say, for example, back to back with Toronto. Like we're not gonna start you maybe one game, then we're gonna have you come off the bench next 2 games, whatever, because it just doesn't make you know to go that consecutive. That's gonna be make you war torn more than anything else. So, but
whereas if he went to Cleveland. He necessarily wouldn't have to start.
Right.
James Harden is more than capable of starting.
Right.
Whereas in Philly, I can't see any of those guys I named before starting out of LeBron.
Yeah.
But they could also do it where LeBron plays the first 7 minutes and then someone swoops in.
Oh, yeah. Now, we'll say this. I don't think there was much of a better – I shouldn't say there wasn't much of a better option. I think Philly was probably the best option as it came, but if you were to say yes or no too, like Even let's say he stays there I'm projecting 3 years. He'll play out this contract, do one more. I think he's going to play at 45. I think that's going to be his swan song. He wants to do the Brady effect. He wants to play at that level and blah blah blah. Let's say a 3-year period. Do they win a title in that 3-year period?
I mean, it's an absolute crapshoot because, I mean, as a Raptors fan, I remember when they won it all and, literally a bounce of a ball made the difference.
Yeah.
Every year there could have been a game that goes to triple overtime and a deflection makes the difference. You have all the skill in the world, but if you don't get the breaks, like that's why, the playoffs are awesome because literally every shot can make the difference.
Yep.
And I don't know if Philly has the depth.
I think that's what's going to kill them.
They're going to have to make a decision, come late February. Where are we at?
Right.
And what do we need to get? Because, as much respect as I have for those guys on the bench, none of them have played this much since junior college.
Right.
They're not going to.
Well, and this is great too. Like we'll swing this around because I say this and I love to tell this story. I know this is technically ancient history now, but you look at what the Bucks did. Okay, now they landed Brady. That was probably one of the biggest free agent signings in the history of the NFL. We could probably agree on that. Okay, now
I will argue Reggie White.
Okay, well that's two, but I mean compared to we'll put it in the top. No, it's okay. We'll put it at top 5.
I was going to say, Sam, can you tell the story? I'm just going to put Ella.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll share that, and then you can come back. I'll probably still be going, so go ahead. But no, so the storyline was Tampa Bay. When they knew they had landed Tom Brady, and I know the story has been told, the pitch was trying to give their sales pitch, get him to come to Tampa. He finally did. The core value and the core idea is they knew that the Super Bowl window was small because obviously Tom Brady coming in was 43 at the time. Still fairly decent numbers, but you're on a short clock because obviously he's not going to play 10 more years, 5 more years. Although I think he still could do that now. But anyway, but when you look at that team now, we're talking about depth, comparing like what LeBron has in Philly. You had Evans and Godwin. You had 2,000-yard receivers. You had O.J. Howard, Cam Brate, Rob Gronkowski comes back. The offensive line.
I haven't heard that name in ages. He's still in the league.
Who?
O.J. Howard.
Last I knew, he played for Houston. I think he's a free agent. I'm not sure he's played this last year, but we're talking about the depth factor. They had depth at tight end. The line was good. The running game with Ronald Jones. You had Leonard Ford, Lombardi, Letty back there. The point is, like we're comparing this with the Sixers, is the difference is Tampa Bay was stacked. So going to that team, it made sense for Tom because obviously your championship window, they were built to contend. Now, I didn't think they could do it only because it wasn't because of Tom Brady. It was because, he leave a team after 20 years. You got to start fresh. So you saw what happened with Favre doing that. It's hard to learn a new system. So I figure it might take a little bit, but they won it that first year. And honestly, they kept the whole squad together the next year. I think they could have went back-to-back had they not been decimated with injuries at the receiving core.
But the other thing that really helped Brady was, he's 42 at the time or whatever he was.
43.
He had a good offensive 43. He had a good offensive line,
right,
to protect them.
Yep. He had good depth.
I don't know that Philly. It's tough to compare apples to oranges, but I don't know that Philly has that same.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm using that illustration of like Tampa Bay was built. And the whole key feature we're talking like now with LeBron in the similar situation is Brady going to Tampa is like LeBron going to Philly now. Your championship window is now, and the Bucks knew that bringing him in. I'm sure Philly knows that bringing LeBron in. The question is, are they going to do enough to put him in that situation to win? As we're saying, what are they going to do come playoff push? Because, and if you look, the comparisons are very similar because Tampa Bay had a hell of a run through the season, even in the playoff push to make the Super Bowl. And I think for the Sixers, you're going to have the same uphill battle where, again, that Eastern Conference is an absolute dogfight. So, I mean.
The question is, if a playoff scenario happened where it's a game 7, 2 minutes left, do you at this age want LeBron to take that important shot because he's done it, but he's done it for 20 years? Or do you want Maxey to take that shot because everybody might be looking at LeBron?
I mean, for me, I guess it's always about who's open. I would look to LeBron because I know in the clutch moments, I think he still could be that guy. But now, obviously, again, if they're factoring that in, if he's double or triple covered, you're not going to force the ball there. You're going to have to look elsewhere. Yeah. But I think it just depends. And again, that's where this whole, I think the major weakness Philadelphia has is the bench and the depth. Now, again, especially if they get gassed, if the starters get gassed and you have nobody to rotate out, what if you are on the clutch in a 7-game series and you're up, you're coming from behind in the series and you need that push? Well, who's going to step up if it's not the starters? Who do you have? I mean,
well, the other advantage to having LeBron is you have to honestly cover him. Like you can't, and putting a decent defensive player on him is one less on Embiid, is
correct.
One less on Jaylen Brown or Maxey. And all of a sudden now the floor becomes a little thinner.
Yeah.
And whereas when you put in some of those guys I named before, they're not worried about them. they'll double team Jaylen Brown, So
overall, yeah, I'd say overall, I don't think it's a bad choice because, again, anywhere you go, there's no guarantee of a win. I think LeBron's having fun with it. He likes the town. Great. And if they win a title, they win a title. Again, you can't do any worse. So I guess time will tell. But I think we can agree, and I think the best.
How many people put money on, other than the hardest of Knicks fans, put money on them at the beginning of the year?
It's a tough call because it's hard to bounce. You always have a down year after you win a championship. It's always inevitable. So.
But I was just saying, coming into this year, how many people other than your hardcore Knicks fans had the Knicks winning?
I don't.
They were one of 9 teams that possibly could have won, or 3 out of the East. Like the playoffs in the NBA, especially, you have no idea. I mean, you think you do, but it'd be nothing for an Oklahoma City to make it to the final. It just happened.
Or even look at San Antonio. They're not far off of it. They got a good young core. So, I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog world. So hopefully things go well for LeBron. Again, we know this is coming to the end. So as long as he's enjoying himself, that's what matters. But time will tell, and we'll see how that goes. But we're going to shift, though. I want to get to Bill have his moment. I'm not big on this, but let's talk FIFA, and then we'll end it with the training camps and all that stuff.
Okay, well, I know I won't spend a ton of time on this because I don't know how much of the audience engages with it. But right now, FIFA, the federation that monitors soccer, has got a lot of things on the air right now. For one, if you recall the World Cup game, there was the end of that and Argentina's lack of sportsmanship. They finally came down with their charging I don't know how it works, but they say they're charging one of the guys from Argentina, and then they're banning a couple of the others, and they're fining the team. It's a mess. But the other major story that's going on right now, you can even turn on ESPN or CBS Sports, and they'll be talking about it, is the head of FIFA is now wanting to create a 25% of the FIFA itself going to be privatized to a private company.
Yeah, boy.
Can boost the income of overall FIFA, but you're obviously taking away the integrity of FIFA.
Right.
Now, UEFA, which is the European end of the soccer federations, has flat out said, we will not support that. We will not send our teams to the World Cup. They came out with that. It's a definite they won't. And CONCACAF, which is the North American teams and the islands, and they've got 44 countries in their stable. And they haven't said they won't take part in the World Cup, but they will not support this motion.
So who won the World Cup, actually? I don't follow it, but who actually?
Which was the team that won there? Argentina lost, Spain won.
Okay.
So Spain would essentially 3 of the 4 semifinalists were European.
Okay.
And so the biggest teams, if Euro and CONCACAF didn't go, your biggest teams would be your South American teams, your Brazil, your Argentina, your Paraguay,
Right.
those sort of countries. The other rub is they said Fantino, who's the head of FIFA, has said that if you sign up and you say yes and you agree to vote yes, we'll give you $40 million to your federation. If you vote no, you're getting 10.
Interesting.
And so a country like Canada, who's an emerging soccer nation, they could really use that money. Like, if you're from one of those island nations, if you're from St. Kitts could use 40 million more than Belgium,
That's
so
true.
It's a financial versus a political play versus an integrity thing.
Right.
And I'm because it's literally playing out as we speak. And I'm very curious. I think they said September 17th is their date. So I'm very curious what it could really shake it up, because essentially if CONCACAF and Europe say no, it becomes an African and a South American World Cup.
Correct.
Or maybe you might get some like Australia, but you'd have, of your top 30 teams in the world, you'd probably have at least 17, 18 of them not there.
Yeah.
If
Makes
not
sense.
more. So I am really curious. I know not everybody here is a big soccer, or they would say football fan, but it just works with the dynamics. It's going to be, it's almost like politics. Donald Trump says this, Mark Carney says that, the head of Sweden says this, the head of Germany says that. It's going to be fascinating. So I won't belabor the point, but just look out every once in a while, because even ESPN will cover this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, it's interesting.
What would you do? Like, just as from your own point of view, would you stick with the integrity and the control versus having everybody there and getting more money?
That's a hard one, just because I could see it from all sides. Why, one way or the other. I get all that stuff. A lot of it is just, there's so many dynamics, and again, you always talk about the politics of it as well, and all that stuff. But for me, it's always about whatever's best for everybody ultimately. So I guess those are the dynamics you have to kind of look at as well. And so
the one thing I did hear today, which was interesting, one of the prognosticators said, in the old days, you get money handed to you in hotel rooms and brown paper bags. At least now he's publicly bribing. He's saying, if you come, this is what you get. We don't need any secret emails or brown paper bags. I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen.
That's fair.
So,
yeah, I think it's just a matter of what ultimately is going to be best. So, I mean, again, I think there's a decision that's going to be had, obviously, at some point. But, it's just one of those. It's tough, and that's why I said I don't want to be in a position where I have to make those calls, because you always know, no matter what you do, it's going to be wrong to some extent. So you just don't want to be that guy or that gal that's going to make those calls, and everybody hates you for it. Or
whoever's the head of these federations essentially has to vote with their conviction,
right?
Because you tell the Polish Federation they're no longer getting 40 million a year. It's not so good. But then you also say, look, but you now are taking power away from the head of the corporation.
Right.
That could be a good thing too. So,
it's a catch-22. There is that.
Yeah. Last thing I'd like to talk about is Major League Baseball trade deadline is coming up.
Okay.
And there are a lot of balls in the air, shall we say, because there are a group of teams that are, I know.
Where's the, hang on. Where is it? Yeah.
There are a bunch of teams that are you can pretty much say are not going to win. There are a few teams that are kind of within 3 or 4 or 5 games of the last wild card spot. And then you've got a few that are just, that they're buyers. And so then teams have to decide, what do they need? What do they want? What will it take to acquire these players that they need?
Mm-hmm.
Like, as a Toronto Blue Jay fan, we've had a very disappointing season. They're 10 games under 500 or 11 or whatever it is. Vladdy Guerrero has, 6 home runs or something. Now, they're not trading Vladdy because he's making a 15-year contract. But we've got players like Kevin Gossman, Dalton Varsho, Jeff Hoffman, that can Shane Bieber, Miles Straw, that other teams might be interested in. And the question is, by selling off, are you telling your fans we're no good? Well, we already know they're not very good. And so do you go for trading them off? George Springer is available.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are guys throughout the league. Like, I just found a list of what people consider the top trade candidates.
Right.
Mason Miller to the Padres. Mason Miller is maybe the best, hardest throwing reliever in baseball. But the Padres are not very good.
Well, there's always that trade-off.
Tarek Skubal from the Tigers. I mean, the guy
heard that,
Cy Young, but the team is less than be desired. I'm just going down the list. Josh Hader from Houston. Josh Hader can be an all-world closer for your team, but Houston, for whatever reason, is looking to move him. Byron Buxton.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Gossman, as I said. There are a lot of players out there. It's a matter of, will you get what you think you can? Like, arguably, any team that's in a power, they're losing and they want to accrue players, want guys under the age of 27 who have Major League Baseball control.
Mm-hmm.
But for teams to give that up, they're going to have to get something in return, obviously. And they're obviously a team that feels that, they're 2 pieces away from winning. So if George Springer, if you think he's the difference between that extra depth piece and not, you'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting. Like, a team like Tampa Bay Rays, Tampa Bay continually trades players when they're at the peak of their performance so they can get a decent return.
Yeah.
Like, other than maybe like Evan Longoria years ago, nobody plays for Tampa for 10 years.
Right.
You are a piece. And so, and like the New York Mets have had a very disappointing season. Could they unload Bo Bichette?
Maybe. I
I
doubt that, just because they invested. I don't see that happening, but maybe.
Or a team like the LA Dodgers, if they need another starter, they'll just go out and get one.
Yeah.
Because they obviously could care less about any salary ramifications. Because if you win, the money that you make in a market like LA between beer sales, jersey sales, ticket sales, hot dog sales.
Oh, yeah.
It's worth it. But then it drives the salaries to the point where the Milwaukee Brewers, the Pirates, the Rays, the Reds, the lower end teams they just can't afford to play in the same ballpark.
Yep, that's true. I think it just depends.
Yeah. Like, what's the closest? Would your closest team be the Mets or the Yankees or the Phillies?
Probably the Phillies. Well, they're all about the same, because New York City's not far. New York Yankee Stadium and Shea Stadium up there, and then obviously Citizens Bank Park. But
they're all within an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Of you.
Yep.
Yeah. The Mets aren't going anywhere. The Yankees still have the power to go up and down. And the Phillies, I think, of the 3 have the best shot at it. Don Mattingly's been a real...
I like him. Yeah, he's a great manager. Yep.
Real positive, yeah. And so
we'll see.
I'm a huge sports guy, and right now baseball's pretty much, unless you want to watch the Canadian Football League.
Not really.
MLB is the only show in town.
That's true.
I'm really curious how it goes on. Now, I know that there'll be people saying college football is coming. Yeah, it is. College football will be here in about a month. And the NFL training camps have just started. Now, we'll get to that in a moment. But baseball right now is got the floor.
Yep.
And so I will.
Well, the hunt for October is on. We're getting closer to October, and that's when the playoffs start. So, push time. And I think we're at the All-Star break now. So
we're past the All-Star.
We're past the All-Star, yeah. So I think
like everybody wants to be Reggie Jackson in October. Everybody wants to be Kirk Gibson with the home run and Jack Morris with the long 10-inning shutout game or whatever.
Yeah.
But realistically now you have to go through 3 or 4 levels of playoffs, and it takes the Jays were literally 2 inches away from winning the World Series, and now
I know
10 games under 500.
I don't want to rub it in, but
baseball's a finicky thing.
Yeah.
So, but I know you want to talk about football. So, football training camps of the NFL have now started. They're now.
So I want to do this. Well, we'll put it this way because there's a lot we could talk about. What do you think is the most or one of the most interesting stories looking at teams going into the season, things to watch? Obviously, we talked about big trades.
I think there are 2 or 3 quarterback battles going on.
Okay.
You don't normally see a flat-out competition.
Okay.
You have guys you assume will, and then you got if someone else wins it, it's either an injury issue or they just flat-out outplayed them. But you've got Cleveland. You've got Minnesota. You've got Atlanta. You've got the Raiders. You got Minnesota, who all legitimately have quarterback controversies or competitions or 50-50 chances. I personally would keep an eye on.
The Raiders in this case.
Go ahead.
Who's the other one? No, who's the other one?
I was going to say the one I would watch closely is the Raiders because, assumably, Cousins is the number one man. But by game 4, if they're 1-3, by game 5, is it Mendoza time?
Well, see, that's one I would say I don't count that much as a quarterback competition because we know Mendoza's the future. That's obvious. Cousins' time is short. The more interesting one.
I was going to say Cousins is getting a decent coin.
Yeah,
and you don't necessarily want that sitting on the bench.
No, but I believe his contract though is a voided thing where they could cut him easily too. Like they didn't do the same mistake Atlanta did. They didn't guarantee him a lot, so they were smart that way. Now, the other 2 that I'm more curious at of the ones listed, Minnesota could be interesting. Now, obviously, they know McCarthy. The Vikings still are holding out hope McCarthy is the guy, but you bring in Kyler Murray. Maybe his career is resurrected there. I mean, he struggled in Arizona, but sometimes a change of pace.
You don't bring in Kyler Murray to hold a clipboard.
No. But at the same time, though, they brought him in on a veteran's minimum, though. So it's not hurting them in the financial department. And actually, Arizona's paying the bulk of his salary anyway. So it's no skin off of Minnesota's shaft, if you will.
But I would like right now, you had McCarthy and you had Kyler Murray. Yeah, Kyler Murray's 5'8". I get it, but he's also as athletic as God is giving you to the sun. Like he's got stuff oozing out of his skill level that 95% of the NFLers never will.
Yep.
And then you've got McCarthy, who you spent a first-round draft pick on, who was middle of the road at best last year. But he may be your future. What are you going with?
Well, and that leads to the more, I think, of the 2, the one I'm more interested in, just because I know, again, they didn't pay a lot, but again, you don't bring this guy in either. The Falcons one is an interesting one because now remember, they used a high draft pick on Penix. He was the 9th pick in the first round as a first round, which upstaged Cousins. They had just brought Cousins in at that time. So now you got Tua there. Now, we know the medical history. We know he's been injured, banged up. But when you bring that kind of player caliber in, what signal does that send to Penix? Because now you're doing basically what he did to Cousins. Now you're saying, we're bringing this guy in for competition. But why? If he's the guy, why are you bringing competition?
But if you're bringing a player with name value like Tua, you're not going to bring him in by saying, okay, here's $18 million. You're now competing for the job. So I'm really curious how that goes down, because Penix is the future, but Tua's not like he's an old man. It's just
but
he's one hit
though?
away.
That's
from
the question. Is Penix the future, or does Atlanta not know for sure?
Yeah, well, I the one that also fascinates me is Cleveland, because they got Deshaun Watson, who by all rights you don't lose your job by injury, but he's also a PR nightmare. You've got Shedeur Sanders, who jumped in there and did decently, showed some athleticism as a fifth rounder. And then you got Dylan Gabriel, who was he, second or third round? I can't remember. But
third, I think.
I don't know what I would have assumed it's going to be Deshaun Watson, but I think camp will show it.
No, whatever. I think truth. Well, the problem is, and this is where now Cleveland is trying to finagle it, but they screwed themselves with his contract. I think Cleveland is ready to jettison from Deshaun Watson. What they're trying to do, though, is they have to financially finagle finances, because obviously they guaranteed him $200 million. So I foresee the battle truly, and I would love to say Shedeur is going to be the starter, but they're going to probably rock with Dylan Gabriel, because, I mean, he had a decent showing. I think it was mid-season last year.
And then he got hurt, though. So then there's sustainability question marks there.
So I think it's a mess either way you look at it. Now, do they bring someone else in? I don't know. I mean,
there's a reason why Cleveland's had, 25 starters since Bernie Kosar last started. Like, they just had or Tim Couch, or like they've had a whole. Some guys
they're
got
just a cursed franchise. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have nothing against Shedeur. I think Shedeur was done wrong by the NFL.
Oh, well, yeah.
But he also came in with a certain swagger that rubbed people the wrong way.
Well, yeah, he didn't do himself any favors either, so there is that. No. But
and when you got your dad spouting off about it, who knows, you know?
Yeah. I think the real big story is ultimately, and obviously we got to go because it was the biggest probably trade in the offseason, is I'd be curious to see how the Rams do, because obviously they invested in Myles Garrett. They're clearly showing their championship window now. Now, is that enough to net it for him? I don't know.
Well, the other thing with the Rams, nobody is saying, is a lot of it will rely on the health of Kyren Williams.
Yeah.
And he's not exactly the epitome of consistency, but he's got so much ability, and he's got the skills to get 1,300 yards. I mean, there's no doubt he does.
Yeah.
But that offense also relies a lot on the pass.
Well, and I mean, who's there? I mean, they got Puka there, yeah. And I mean, I think Devontae Adams is still there. I don't know. I mean, and again, he's a year older than me. You're getting older. Like, I mean, I get it. I get the championship window, but I don't know. I don't know if it's too little, too late, at least at this point in time. So time will tell. And obviously this should be the swan song now. This is Aaron Rodgers' last ride. So
yeah, you've still got Devontae Adams there. You've got Jordan Whittington, and you've got Colby Parkinson at tight end.
Yeah, I just don't think they have enough to really. I mean, the Myles Garrett helps. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't see them pushing that hump. So we'll have to see.
The other storyline I'm curious is Harbaugh in New York. I want to see what difference he makes there.
I'm going to give him a pass. I'm going to give him a pass the first. I mean, you got to give him a year to see what he has to work with, make sure everybody's healthy.
But the players he has don't necessarily play to the skills that he's preached in other places. So does he adjust his play
I don't know.
calling with the talent,
Maybe.
or you make the talent fit the system?
I think that's part of this. I think that's what this year is going to be about. I think he's got to figure that out when he sees them on the field, see what's the dynamics are. I think this is going to be a learning curve for both players and coach. So,
and I mean, you've got like Scatterboo. Is he going to be healthy? Well,
same thing with Dart too.
Will Scatterboo be healthy? Will Jalen Neighbors be healthy?
Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors. Will he be healthy? Those are the.
And you got OBJ, but he's on his. This is his last dance. He's not gonna.
Is OBJ even gonna make the team?
He'll make the team, but he's gonna be like the fourth. He's 33 years old. He's banged up. I mean,
I can't see him returning punts. Like you're there to catch.
Not at this stage. No, he'll be more of a third down. He might come in as the fourth or third. He's not going to play every snap. You just can't do that.
He's the fourth receiver on 4 wide receiver sets.
But they're going to have to upgrade because they're going younger because they don't have Wan'Dale Robinson. He went to Tennessee, so they'll have to fill that gap somewhere.
But realistically, if there was a 7th round 22-year-old burner, he obviously is inexperienced, but would you rather have him or would you rather have OBJ?
Yeah, I mean that's a catch-22 in itself, but nevertheless, needless to say, we'll do a special when we get closer to kickoff time. We're going to talk more once we get deep into the regular season.
If there's anybody listening that would be interested in a fantasy football,
bring it.
I am going to create a league between Airway Kingdom Network and Land of the Creeps and MMSS. If you're interested, let me know. I open it up to 20 teams and then just see how many we get.
Okay.
Because I've had some years where there was more demand than spots.
Yeah.
I've also had some years where there wasn't as many as I anticipated. So
you never know.
You never know. But everybody says I don't want to do baseball. There's too much to follow, but I'll do football. Okay.
Well, I mean, all right, I get it. I guess. That could be fun. But sign up today. Let's have a good old-fashioned slugfest. Let's do that.
The last thing before we go, I wanted to mention was the contract Macklin Celebrini signed with the San Jose Sharks. 18 point some odd mil a year, but it's actually a lower cap hit than when Leo Carlson got his 18 million with Anaheim.
There you go.
And so the bar is now raised. The players will like it. I think they're getting some money from a TV deal.
Mm-hmm.
The cap is going up.
Yeah,
but there are still some teams like Calgary will never be able to pay somebody 18 million a year.
Gosh, no, they can barely play their homegrown players for that.
I can't see Billy Guerin signing guys in Minnesota for 18 million a year. So it's going to be interesting. As a self-proclaimed Montreal Canadiens fan, their top 5 assets are all under contract for at least the next 4 to 5 years at a reasonable price. They scooped them up. Other teams have not. They're in the situation they're in. But that's a hockey thing. I know it's July, but I'm always a hockey head. So
you never know.
If you have anything else you want us to discuss, give us a buzz. Golf, NASCAR.
No, please.
I don't like these are sports I don't follow, but there are obviously Formula One fans are pretty hardcore. So if you'd want us to, I could look it up, but I don't know it other than Max Verstappen. I couldn't tell you another Formula One race. And
ultimately, listen, it would be such a hardship, but we'll follow the Lingerie Football League if you want us to. I mean, I know it's, I don't usually watch it. It'd be such a hardship. I would be glad to follow if you really want to talk about that. We can.
If you want me to follow the Croatian League soccer, well, you're out of luck. But if you wanted me to look at the Scottish League, I could look up Celtic or Glasgow. So,
I'm happy to know that. That's very important for the folks. That's good to know. Yes.
But anyway, all I'm saying is we're open. If you want to talk about the World Sailing Championships, I don't have a clue.
Let's not get too crazy now, but I get it.
Bowling, I couldn't tell you anybody who bowls, but
I like bowling, but
I like to play bowling, but the last bowler I could name was either Pete or Dick Weber, and I think that was in the 80s. So I don't know what's going on.
So we'll hold off on that. So there you go. Well, we hope this was informative for you guys. Again, we'll have more topics. Obviously, things are still in flux. Sports always goes on. There's always something to talk about. So this goes on all year round.
Reality show. Forget about Survivor. Forget about the wives of whatever they live in.
Or forget about the Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore, sure, whatever. Yeah, This is better than Jersey Shore. And you also get, you do get some romance. You had Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Please, just kill me now. Don't even.
So, anyways, give us a buzz. We're welcome to talk about it, and we're, as you can tell, we're enthusiastic about it. We know a little bit about it, so give us a shout.
And we'll post it out there. We get closer to signups for fantasy. If you guys want to play, we'll let you know. So hit us up today. Could be fun. Good old fashioned slugfest. What better way to do it?
Do you think Big Hoss will have a team?
If he does like he did last time, he'll have a team and he won't play, but he'll auto draft and he'll still win the whole dang thing because he gets lucky with these picks. So,
despite the fact he'll have 4 players on IR,
he did, and he beat me that week. I'm like, son of a, because he had like Josh Allen and he had Justin Jefferson and he had like, I'm like, what the heck? He had no tight end, no defense, no run game, but he still beat me.
Anybody looking for I wouldn't say it's a sleeper, but undervalued is Justin Jefferson because he had such bad quarterback play that his numbers don't look great. But then if you give it a look, his skills aren't any worse. It's just that he had JJ McCarthy, Max Brosmer, all these guys playing quarterback, and
it's not really a fair assessment there. So that's that. Yeah.
No. At least if they brought in Kyler Murray. He knows how to run a pro offense. It
might perk his numbers up. It could be he could be a silent sleeper, a dark horse for that. So,
I mean, he's capable of 1,300 yards. Can he get the ball thrown to him is another story.
We'll find out. We'll see. And we hope you guys are excited too, but you never know what's going to happen. So stay tuned for more. And again, we got more great talent coming. So I hope you guys are excited. We have more guests. More fun, more zany antics. Who knows what will happen? Again, we don't always, so it's just a wait-and-see approach, but it'll be worth it, we promise. So we hope you guys enjoy your Thursday. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Until next time, we're calling the game. Hit the showers, everybody. We'll catch you on the next episode. See you all soon. Have a great weekend, and stay tuned for more.
Get clean and washed.
Anyway, good night.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Be sure to check J&J Production Studios on Linktree for all the streaming services and social media accounts where our shows are featured. We love and appreciate all your support. And as always, until next time, we'll see you at the show.